What's up, YouTube? Scotty Tradition back with another video. Hope everybody is doing well. Got 3 cards here that have come in the mail in the last week here that I'm going to talk about. And obviously just finished my top 250 in the hobby, or top 250, my top 100 cards videos. So I'd love it if you go check those videos out. Something fun I do every year. It's just like, I think, a great way to appreciate the collection that you already have and just kind of go through it and kind of just see if there's any new trends throughout the year. I just think it's a fun thing to do every year. So both of those videos are posted within the last week or two, so go check those out if you want to see some interesting cards. And then I've got 3 cards here that have come in the mail. So these are all football cards. We'll start out with the first one here. Got the 1993 Fleer Ultra Michael Strahan rookie card. One of those nostalgic cards from my youth. Love the way the Ultra cards smelled out of the pack, of all things. Just kind of funny. But this is some low-hanging fruit, I guess we could call it, in the NFL Top 100 set. This card in a 9 is relatively inexpensive. You can pick it up from anywhere from like 25 to 40 bucks, somewhere in that range. So in a 9. If you want it in a 10, these cards can go in the couple $100 range or more. But with this set, I'm really trying to focus on just 9s for cards like post 1980. Like, I'm okay with that. And if I want to like spend bigger on some cards, I'm more of a vintage guy, so those are the cards that I'm going to put money into, as opposed to like a card from 90. This is 93 Ultra, which there's so much supply out there of that. You know, I'm not sure how scarce a 10 really is in the long run. They could be grading 10s on those for years. So I'm happy with a 9 for the Michael Strahan. Obviously, great defensive end for the Giants for many years. I think he's 6th all-time in sacks. A youthful Michael Strahan there as well. So happy to have that one. And then here's a card that I actually used to own, and I ended up selling this card back around the peak. I think it was around 2021, somewhere around there, peak of the hobby. And I rebought into this card. So this is the 1989 score Barry Sanders rookie card. And this one looks really nice for a 9. Sometimes these can get a little off-centered, actually, believe it or not. This one looks pretty good. Not really any noticeable flaws, to be honest. So that's kind of what I was looking for this card. You can get this card anywhere from 100 to like 130 bucks, 140, somewhere in that range, depending on how the 9 looks. There were some recent 9s that sold that showed quite a bit of chipping on the card. Even they still called it a 9 for whatever reason, but this one looked pretty darn flawless for a 9. I was excited to get this one. Paid more towards that $125, $130 range for this one. The Strahan I was able to get for 23 bucks, so you can't go wrong there. So 2 cards off that list for the top NFL Top 100 set. And this card here sold for 1/12 of the price that that the PSA 10 goes for. So I'm perfectly happy to have this in a 9, to be honest. So that right there brings me up to about 25% now for the set already. I do have about 3 or 4 of those cards in SGC holders. I think I have the 50 Bowman Y.E. Tittle in an SGC holder. And then I've also got my 33 Sport Kings Thorpe and Grange in SGC holders. Not sure if I'll cross those over at some point. Right now, I'm okay leaving them in the SGC holders, even though I can't officially add them to the set, but I do have the cards. So that puts me at 25 out of 100 cards so far. I got a pretty decent start on the set, actually, from cards that I already had. So I might just add, 1 or 2 cards a month here going forward. There's plenty of like low-hanging fruit to keep me occupied for a while, and especially if I'm gonna settle for 9s in these post 1980 cards, you can get those for really reasonable, and I'm just excited to have examples of those players. But the biggest card that came in was this one. So you all, by the way, one other thing on the Barry Sanders here before I get into this next card. This also goes to the top 250 in the hobby set. So when I had sold off a couple cards around the peak, mostly modern or semi-modern cards post 1980, it took some of those cards out of my top 250 set, but now I can add that back in at a 9. So it goes to actually to 2 sets that I'm working on. But this next one here is a big time card for the collection. This is one that had my eyes on for quite a while. I've lost out on a few of these over the years, and the pop's not super high for these. I want to say maybe in like the pop 15 range. I'd have to double check. Actually, I'll check right now if you guys want to just bear with me for a second here, because I want to know what the official pop is on this one. So just hang with me for a moment as I check out the pop quick here. Almost there. There it is. Okay, that's about what I thought, actually. That's funny. All right, so here's the card. It's the 1955 Topps All-American Don Hudson rookie card, autographed. You can see this is only graded to 1. The card itself is, I mean, the corners don't really exist anymore. It's definitely seen its wear and tear from over the years. But the auto is a 9. That's actually a very nice auto on this card. I've seen a lot lighter autos from Hudson on this card. So that is awesome. This is a tough one to knock off of the Packers Hall of Fame rookie autograph set. The pop on this is 17. So 17 of these have been certified by PSA DNA. And I was just excited to be able to have the opportunity to get one. Won this in an auction in the last couple weeks. I knew this was going to be a tough one to get, and I'm so glad I can cross it off the list. Man, Don Hudson, you know, obviously probably the best wide receiver in the first 50 years of football. There are some that argue maybe the best of all time, especially for the era that he played in versus that competition, and what you were allowed to get away with as a defender then, and compared to what you're allowed to get away with now. He just was dominant. So real happy to knock that one off the list. That's a good one right there. It's turning into a pretty good year for my collection, actually. That's one of those like that when it comes up, you have to make an effort for it, or you just may never get one. I mean, there's 17 of them, and I mentioned in a previous video how hot NFL Hall of Fame autographs are right now, so there's just a lot more competition for those kind of cards. So was real happy to grab that one. So that's all I got. I got nothing coming in right now, nothing on the docket. We have an election in this country in like 2 weeks, so that's always interesting times. So cards are usually a pretty good escape for me from that. So I just hope, you know, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of election talk here because I know nobody really wants to listen to that. We all have our ideas of who we think would do better about running the country. There's different things that are important to all of us. There's different things we all take into account. And beyond that, there's just like the natural process of things. Like, it's funny, like if you look back to like 1990, we have like, so we had, let's just go back to the first George Bush, right? So Republican president, and then switched over to Clinton, Democratic president, then back to George H.W. Bush, Republican president, and then to Obama, a Democratic president, and Trump, a Republican, and Biden, a Democrat. It just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We have sort of like a cantankerous electorate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if somebody's been in office or what they've even done. It's just that in general, in 2024 in America, like, we're just so cantankerous about everything, right? Like, it doesn't even matter who's in there. They're going to get booted out on all likelihood in the next 4 years. Like, that's just kind of the mood that the electorate is in. So a lot of these things are kind of like beyond us. Like, it's just the natural way things are going right now. We have like a cantankerous electorate of people. And Like if Harris wins the presidency, I wouldn't be surprised if a Republican would win in 2028. I would be really surprised if that didn't happen, if that was the case. If Trump wins, I think 2028 a Democrat is more than likely to win. So we have a very cantankerous electorate. We all get wrapped up in it, and but the truth of the matter is there are things at play in the background with sociology and the way human nature works that, especially in this day and age, that we're out of our control. So it's best just to focus on your friends and your family, and don't try to let like election stuff get in the way of, you know, friendships and things you've made, friends and family. I've got plenty of friends and family that I'm friends with that don't think how I think about it, and they're some of the best friends that I have, and that goes for my family as well. And I've just made it a point to not let that get in the way of relationships, and I think everybody would be wise to do that too. Focus on the things that really matter. With that being said, that's about all the election talk you're ever going to get from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Really excited to have that Hudson come in, especially. That's a big time card for the collection. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for watching.